So I'll show them in Spanish on the screen, but I'll read them in English. So the marvelous thing that this man said is, we need Harry Potter's magic wand. He did said that. Yes, I did a lot of mischief when I was a little kid, and I do a lot of them too now that I am president. Ah, yes. He was, if you look for a compilation of Vicente Fox saying pequeña y mediana empresa, that means small and medium business. He was all about that. He was all about like supporting small businesses. Shit never happened, but he always said it. I like to read the novels of Octavio Paz. Octavio Paz never wrote any novel. He was a poet. He wrote poems and essays. He's one of the most famous writers of Mexico. So, yikes. Now 75% of Mexicans have washing machines, and they're not precisely two-legged. Do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get it now? And this one is special because it caused a diplomatic issue. Eat and you go. Now I'm not sure about that one. Like, it's almost a legend that one happened, because I heard the interview where he allegedly said it, and he allegedly, like, if you want to know more about that one, where he actually caused almost a diplomatic issue in an event that happened here in Mexico. He said it to Fidel Castro when Fidel Castro was still the dictator in Cuba. So Fidel wanted to come, and he was like, well, you're invited, but like, you cannot discuss anything. And he was like, I want to go to the brunch. And you're like, no, eat and you go. That caused a huge diplomatic issue, because like the ass didn't know, he didn't know how to deal with it. But like, there's an interview that he says like, well, you come, you eat, you sit right next to me, and then you leave. That's like actually what he says in the interview. But there's like this like legend that he actually just tell him, you eat and then you leave, and that's like super rude. But it is like a legend that he said that, but it's more of a legend. But the actual interview is that he told him, then you come, sit right next to me, and then you go. But again, he said many stupid things. But at the end of the day, the issue with Vicente Fox is that also there's a lot of pictures of him throwing the finger. Why? I don't know. Even to this day. One thing though, it was during Bush, George W. Bush era. There were BFFs, of course. One simple-minded man to another, and Bush wanted Mexico support for the war in Iraq, and Fox said no. Like, no, we won't go. Mexico can't. And also, if you think Trump is the first one that has ever thought about a wall, no, Bush also was like, we need like a rail. And Fox was also like, no, like, that's not gonna work. like no, like, we don't need railings. Like, it's not gonna work. It's not efficient. We don't need walls to divide us. So, He did do some stuff, but the thing is that he didn't measure up. He wasn't enough for the damage that had been done the 70 past years. So Luis Estrada made his second movie, which is Un Mundo Maravilloso or Un Hombre Ejemplar.
Pérez, Juan Pérez. Póngale 29. ¿Por qué letra quiere que empiece? El compadre, el tutti frutti, el come cuando hay, pero la gran mayoría me conoce nada más por el pinche Pérez. ¿Pertenece a un partido político? Mejor perro, joven, ¿qué pasó? Te voy a recomendar para que consigas un buen trabajo. ¿Un trabajo? ¿Qué pasó, Melik? ¿No que ya éramos amigos? ¿Y entonces qué? ¿Cómo quieres que te ayude? Es que, licenciado, mi sueño ha sido siempre tener una casita. Mira, si haces todo lo que yo te pida, yo te prometo que ese sueño se va a hacer realidad. ¿A cuánto está el salario mínimo?
¿Qué tal que Pérez se convierte en el ejemplo a seguir para todos los pobres de este país?
Which talks about this stage of the stage in Mexico where we got this new like rose tinted era almost, you know, where we were like, oh, things are gonna change, things are gonna be different, like we're gonna have to change. It was very like surreal, right? It was 6 years. This was from 2000 and 2006. And then in 2006, elections came again. It was again, we had more parties. At this point in time, we had more parties. It was PRD, PT from Partido del Trabajo, PRD, I don't know their actual name. Those were the main ones. And Verde Ecologista, I always forget their name. But they were like the ecological party. You will think I will talk better about them, but no, they're all. The point is that 2006 came, and it was time to be like, oh, will the democracy continue? We're like, shall we fall into a new dictatorship with now PAN being the new overlords? What is going to happen now? What happened was then that again the person from PAN got selected. It was Felipe Calderón. And what was rose tainted with Fox became sour very quickly. Because then 2007 arrived. And I wish I could like be more like playful. We got like the silly, goofy Fox, like, we need the Harry Potter wand. I really cannot stress how bad Felipe Calderón time was, because Felipe Calderón decided that he wanted to declare war on drugs. And man, was that bad. So from 2007 to 2010, since the revolution, it was one of the most violent times in our country ever. And I live in the border, and it was one of the hottest zones for the war, in the drug war. And it was bad. It was really, really, really bad. It led to violence. The violence led to people fleeing the city, which led the city like an abandoned ghost town, which eventually led to rise in crimes, then to extortions. It was just horrifying. It was 24/7 on the TV. It literally, it was really, really bad. In 2010, I mentioned 2010 because 2010 was at the highest. It was really, really when it was at the highest that you really, it's not that you couldn't go out. Like we all moved on with our regular lives. I went to school, I did things, but you didn't feel safe. You didn't feel safe at all. It was quite bad. Every day you heard about someone dying. Every day you see it on the news. It was sensationalized in the papers. They would put actual, like, there was no censorship in tabloids, I think they're called in English. Tabloids, there were no censorship. So, like, actual dead bodies without heads, without legs, tortured, they would appear on the newspapers because there was no censor. They were open up. I was 17, almost 16, going on 17. I lifetime actually. I couldn't have been 17. I must have been younger. But the thing is that I was very young, and I saw the violence around me, and it made you numb. It made you numb to the violence. It was really sad. It made you distrust the police, again, because corruption was still very rampant. We were surrounded by soldiers as well. It was bad. So that, of course, led to another movie, particularly in 2010. If you remember from the introduction that I gave, we had our first transformation in 1810, the independence. We had our third transformation in 1910. So everyone was wondering if something of importance was going to happen in 2010. Everyone was surprised that the country was worse than ever in 2010. So, people were like saying, oh, it's the anniversary of the independence, and the bicentennial anniversary of the independence, and the centennial, yes, I think that's the word, anniversary of the revolution, and we're worse than ever. Like, what the hell are we going to celebrate? Like, what are we even celebrating? Like, we're worse than ever. So, of course, this led to Luis Estrada's third movie, El Infierno.
Me cae que no tienes idea en lo que se ha convertido este país.
Crisis, desempleo, violencia.
Si de puro milagro no le he tenido que vender mi chancarro a los reyes.
¿Y quiénes son esos reyes, que todo el mundo los mienta para arriba y para abajo?
El mero mero es el viejo don José. Maneja todos los negocios turbios de la zona y sus alrededores.
Los que trabajan conmigo son como parte de mi familia. Pero en este negocio hay reglas que deben seguirse si no se quiere terminar con un balazo en la cabeza.
Ya llegó por quien lloraba.
¿Qué huele, mi gordo mata? Pues, ¿cómo está?
Ya no soy el gordo mata, mi Benny. Ahora soy el cochiloco, ¿está claro?
Híjole, mi cochi, necesito ganarme unos fierros.
No saben la que se está metiendo.
Ten cuidado, este negocio deja muy buena lana, pero también hay muchas tentaciones.
So El Infierno, of course, is a movie that portrays all that nastiness that happened. Personally, I skipped El Infierno because I didn't want to see all that violence again rubbed over in my face. But it was a very well acclaimed movie. A lot of people liked it. It won, I believe, best movie in the. We have our own. I think I haven't mentioned this in this shows, but we have our own version of the Oscars, which is the Ariel, and I believe it won best movie for the Ariel. And But of course that led... Oh, I was going to put it here. So that I have something here and you can see my hand. That led to Lopez Obrador starting being in the news. Actually, since Fox, you could see him coming.
Ciudadano presidente,
Va a haber justicia y seguridad. Pero andan muy nerviosos los de la mafia del poder.
And
De
I
lujo
think
para 280 pasajeros. No lo tiene ni Obama.
from Calderon, he started being like, I want to be president. That was the first time. The first time? Yes, that was the first time he lost. He was like, okay, I lost. And then the 2012 elections happened. And he ran himself again. But in 2012, oh, I moved the camera. 2012, sorry. In 2012, something interesting happened. And we saw a young fellow who was, he looked handsome, he looked prepared, he looked young and different. But there was something peculiar about this young man. He came from a known enemy, from El PRI. And that was the young Enrique Peña Nieto. Could he be different? Could he be a new Colosio? What were the chances of that, right? Well. It looks like I'm going to find out next episode. No, I'll tell you right now. So the thing with Enrique Peña Nieto is that Enrique Peña Nieto looked like he had everything. He looked fabric designed to be like laboratory design to be a politician. He looked like the hair, the everything. Here in Mexico, one of the major forces still is television. I'm still doing this with my feet. Is still television, and he even got married to an actress, kind of like Trump and Melania. Like, he married to an actress, so he was like, oh my god, he married to this very popular actress. They were like very happy together, and again, he looked the part. And everyone, he was like the golden boy. It didn't even matter that he come from the PRI. He was like, no, I'm coming from a new PRI. I'm coming from a PRI that is like honest and out of corruption. We like threw away the old PRI. Like, that doesn't exist anymore. I'll bring you the good news, like the new stuff. You know, like, he was winning a lot of favor from everyone. And of course, Lopez Obrador didn't like that. He was like, no, he's the same shit. Like, no, don't believe him. And the funny thing about Peña Nieto is that as more time went by, a lot of the shedding started coming off.
Build and boost a policy of comprehensive development on the territory, where the investment in infrastructure may be the trigger of a buoyant domestic market that complements our exporting sector.
Lecturas que han marcado la Biblia en algún momento de mi vida y algunos pasajes bíblicos. Yo no leí toda la Biblia. Leía los libros, varios, algunos, la Silla del Águila, de Krause. Leí incluso el otro, la antítesis de ese libro, como eran las mentiras sobre... es que quiero recordar el nombre, el título del libro.
The stuff that was on the outside start peeling off. Funny stuff starting appearing. Are we all starting noting that he was a bit odd? So he was kind of stupid. by the end of his running campaign, we all realized that he was a puppet and that he was really stupid, but it was too late. The PRI had already won over again most of Mexicans. The difference by how much Enrique Peña Nieto and Andrés Manuel Lopez Obrador, like the difference between them was very, very small. Like Enrique Peña Nieto barely made it, if I remember correctly. And Lopez Obrador, of course, he said it wasn't fair. He wanted a recount. So that's what I'm saying. This sounds familiar, right? He wanted a recount. He was like, no, like, I won. Like, this is like, I won. This is fake. There was, like, a fraud. Like, this cannot be. You obviously, like, this is PRI we're talking about. This is bullshit. Like, no. And he actually declared himself, I'm sorry, Lopez Obrador, AMLO, declared himself as president, non-official, and he even, like, went to, I think it was Palacio Nacional, which is where our government is, and he, like, took protest. He, like, pretty much did his own inauguration, and he was like, I declare myself president. Again, does this sound familiar? And he ran with this for a really good couple of months until he finally gave it up. And what he did is that he left his party and he began a new independent party. And he said, like, next time I'll get you. Like, next time I'll get you, Spider-Man. And but again, this man, AMLO was obsessed with becoming president at this point. It wasn't that he wanted to do something right. It wasn't that he wanted to do something good. He wanted to become president. But we still had the issue that we had to deal with Enrique Peña Nieto. He was clearly kind of stupid. Our hope was, at that point, by the people, like, for instance, I personally, if I may say, I didn't vote for him. But my hope, now that he had won, was that, okay, so he won. My hope was that, okay, so if he won, that means that at least he has people of power behind him. Maybe they can do something to control at least the drug problem. We were still dealing with the drug problem. I wanted someone to deal with that. Anyway, like, can you deal with this? And for years, things seem to be settling down. Still, it's registered that his sexennium, which is 6 years, weren't good. He was extremely, again, incompetent. And now that he's out, it was proven that there was a lot of corruptions. Now there's some sorry, the word escapes me. There's some court cases going on against some of the people that were behind him, because again, he was just like the puppet. So this leads us to the final movie that Luis Estrada made, which is, of course, La Dictadura Perfecta.
Mr. Ambassador, it's a great honor to have you in Mexico. We actually have many problems in Mexico. We are waiting to do all the dirty jobs not even the negros wanted to do.
Ganan menos de dignidad, de voluntad y de capacidad de trabajo. Están haciendo trabajos que ni siquiera los negros quieren hacer allá en Estados Unidos.
Which talks about how everything was a facade, and this, of course, led to people finally being sick and finally giving AMLO the sitting of president in 2018. And do I believe that he won it fair and square? Yes. because people were like, okay, you've been crying wolf for the past 20 years that you want to be president. He didn't appear out of nowhere. He first was, I believe, the governor of Mexico City. One of his main the main things that he did was that he built a second floor for a highway. It was like a meme before memes were memes. We all made fun of it. It was like, oh yeah, segundo piso del periférico. Ah, like I'm from Juarez. I don't know the periférico, which is the main highway in Mexico City, and I'm like, sí, el segundo piso, the second floor, and you know, he's always been involved in politics. I'm not saying that he didn't appear out of nowhere. Like, he's always been involved in politics. He is very much a politician. But he's not the same politician that he was 20 years ago. Now he's a very old, different man. So the reason why I wanted to make this video 2 years ago when he was first elected was to say, well, now that he has been elected, even though I never liked him personally, it's because I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I was like, okay, well, now he's finally here. Like, girl, you made it. What are you gonna do? How's it gonna be? But now we're 2 years in, and one of those years was 2020. So how has he been handling it? Well, we'll find out once we finish this retrospective of the movies. We're going to go through all of them in the next episodes because, like I said, we need to find out exactly what happened these 20 years from the 2000. Well, not exactly from the 2000s because we're going to. Well, we will include the 2000, but from this whole thing that happened since the revolution till now. Did he actually manage now from the third revolution, from the third transformation to the 2018? Now, can he say that he actually is managing to do a fourth transformation? Is being worth it? Now, analyzing these 4 movies, seeing what everything that has been through the eyes of narration through the movies, and now with these 2 years that he has in his pocket, has it been worth it? And I don't know. I mean, we're still in fucking COVID, and shit has been said about Mexico. I don't want to give, like, hints or things, but, you know, we don't know. I don't know. I'll keep you waiting, like, wait until the 3rd episode. So next episode, we're going to see La Ley de Herodes. It's a really good movie. I already saw it, like, so I won't keep you waiting that long. Most likely it will be ready before... I still have to, like, cut and edit, so most likely it'll be ready hopefully before next week, depending also when this episode comes out. See it. Welcome back. I'm sorry it was long for thank you for seeing this small retrospective of Mexican politics and why I want to give this a whole like context of why the movies of Luis Estrada have this political context and why they matter to the state that we're in with AMLO, and why you know. And again, this is a channel movie, but I want to do some commentary on Mexican stuff, and after all, it's called Mexican Real, so that's also kind of the point. I have more ideas for more videos. I had been making ideas for videos, but again, because I was doing my thesis, I could never do any of them. But I'll try to make them now that I am out of my commitment with my thesis. I'm very happy that I was able to do my thesis. I'm very excited about the stuff that I can do now in the future with it. Well, you know, 2020, man, hasn't been easy. But so it's almost 2021. We'll see what happens. But at least we'll do this. And I believe you still ask for likes and subscribes in YouTube. I don't know, it's been 2 years, man. But leave a like, subscribe if you like. The videos I have are very old dated. Like I have a video like Joker. I remember I made videos when the Joker movie was being made. So my videos about the Joker movie are super outdated. So if you see those, they're super outdated. Maybe I will make one just to like close that cycle. So if you see videos in my channel about the Joker movie, they're super outdated. I'm sorry. But check some of the old videos just to see some of the general sense if you're new here. And like, subscribe, leave a comment for the algorithm. Engage! And welcome back. Welcome back to me. And hi, audience. And I'll be seeing you. Bye, guys. See you in the next episode. Check la ley de Herodes. Bye.